Welcome back into the Tide Talk podcast on the Believe Podcast Network. Stacey Blackwood with Jake Thomas. Jake, what's up, buddy?
Man, I'm doing great. It is finally here. The week we've all been waiting on, and the day we've been waiting on since the last football game when we hoisted that national championship up and claimed another one. It's time for some Alabama football.
Yeah, we finally made it to week one now, just a couple days away from kickoff against Miami there in Atlanta at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So super excited about that. We're going to talk about that game here in just a few minutes. We got a few different topics to discuss tonight, but first we got to, tell everybody about our friends over at betonline.ag. Like we mentioned, it's that time of year again. Football is here, whether it's college football or NFL football. Betonline.ag is the place to go, to win that money on those bets. So head on over to the website or use your mobile device. And right now, Jake, usually it's been that 50% welcome bonus. Right now, you can head to their website, sign up today, and on your first deposit, you will receive a 100% welcome bonus. So
Oh, nice.
if you put $100 in there, they're going to give you an extra $100 to play with. So it's free money. So take advantage of their opening day super promo. So make a bet on Thursday, September 9th, season opener between the Super Bowl champion Buccaneers and the Dallas Cowboys. And if you lose, your wager will be refunded up to $25 for new customers only when signing up using promo code NFL100. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your sports. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. All right, Jake, we got that out of the way. Next, we got people piling in now on the live show. The live chat is open. So if you have any
Yes.
questions or comments about the depth chart, about the Miami game, about any of the games this weekend, just drop them in the chat and we will be glad to discuss that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Give us a big thumbs up on YouTube. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single episode of the Tide Talk podcast. All right, Jake, let's just start the conversation off with the depth chart. What was, if there was any surprises to you, what were those surprises?
I'm not really. It played out the way I thought it would. I've the biggest thing I was keeping an eye on was who's going to be QB2, and I kind of had a feeling that Paul Tyson would be that, but they talk. I mean, Jalen Milroe is going to be a stud, and I'm still not convinced that we don't see him this year in some type on the field in some capacity. He's just too good to stay off, but. I had a feeling just experience wise and being in the program that Paul Tyson was there.
Saban said today that I'm not sure where it was at, but I seen a tweet today that Saban said that the QB2 spot is still open for competition between Tyson and Milroe. So
No.
it's kind of a either or type situation between Milroe and Tyson.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing I was keeping an eye on. The running back situation, I kind of had a feeling that Brian Robinson would be the starter there. I just going to interested to see how if it was going to be McClellan or if Trey Sanders could make a big leap in return. And John, I love JoJo Earl. I am so excited to see him.
Yeah, he's not even one of those early enrollees. He got there in the summer, and he has kind of moved his way up the depth chart just over the last few weeks. So that just shows what type of playmaker he is. And as far as returning kicks, I think he has a chance to be really special. I know last year, John, he was high on Waddle for Heisman heading into the season, and that might could have happened if Waddle had not sustained that injury. So I expect JoJo Earl, maybe not instantly to be a Jalen Waddle type, but he's in the mold of a Jalen Waddle and has a chance to be a really special player for Alabama.
Absolutely, and I think we have touched on this before, but there was an article that Dr. Matt Ray put out about a month or two ago about the overall speed at the wide receiver core is better than it ever has been. So that's scary. I mean, you always said you can't coach speed, but these guys have figured out a way to do that. It's incredible at their knowledge and what they have brought to this program. So it's incredible to see.
Yeah, I mean the wide receiver really special this year.
Hmm.
Of course, John Mechie's back. He's one of the best receivers in the country. Uh,
Best hitters in the
and then
country too.
yeah, could be a really good safety as well. But then you talk about guys like JoJo Earl. You talk about guys like Jamison Williams, the Ohio State transfer, who is going to be a starter at the Z position for Alabama.
Hmm.
So just a lot of talent there. Uh, and I'm just excited to see how these guys perform on Saturday. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
And John says Matt Rea can. Yeah, he
Shoot.
unbelievable.
What a steal by
Man, it's
Saban.
we've talked about it several times, but Dr. Matt Rea and David Ballou have been instrumental to the success of the team the last couple of years. So really excited about those guys and what they kind of bring to the strength and conditioning side of the program.
Absolutely. Defensively, I was going to touch on. We always talk about defense, and of course, your main guys like Malachi and Battle, the linebacking core all get talked about. But a guy I'm really interested to see, Philadelphia Mathis. I mean, this is his time to step up, and I think he's going to do it in a big way this year. He don't get talked about a lot, but he needs to, because he's going to be a stud this year, I do believe.
Speaking of the defensive line, a guy that I talk about every year, Justin Aboigbe.
Yes.
And I'm telling you, there's just something about his game, and sometimes it takes certain guys, a little longer. But I feel like Justin Aboigbe is going to be a guy that makes a name for himself this fall. He's actually trimmed down a little bit more from last season. I think he's going to be playing about 285 this year instead of 292. So
Nice.
I'm excited about Justin Aboigbe and what he can do. John's back in the chat there. He says, how quickly does Billingsley move back up the depth chart? Jake, I'll let you, give your opinion on that first.
I think it's going to be a few games. He's too special of a talent to be off the field. I don't know. I think it may be the first game and it'll be over with. I don't know. It's all depends on Saban, though. But Saban did have some choice words for him today about, we're trying to make him a disciplined person and a disciplined player. Something to that effect. So it remains to be seen, but he's too special of a talent. We need him and his ability on the field. So, he's got to get that mind right.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with that. No need to really add to that because you pretty much covered all the bases. I didn't read too much into the depth chart thing until Billingsley, tweeted last night about it. Did you see that? Where he said he deleted it, but he tweeted, something about being the third option because he was the third name listed, in the tight end room. But he quickly deleted the tweet. Just kind of interesting there. I didn't really think nothing of him being that low because, once you're in the doghouse, you move all the way to the bottom of the depth chart.
Right.
So you got to work your way back up. So that part was not surprising to me. So I don't know. It just sounds like he's got some maturing to do, and we certainly hope he can get there because he's a great football player, and he would be a great addition to the offense. But if he's not willing to do the things that are necessary to see the field, then he won't see the field, and that's just the way it is.
That's right. Like Saban said, it's not a democracy.
No. As far as the offensive line, anything surprising to you? I do have something that's surprising to me. The fact that true freshman Jaden Roberts and Terrence Ferguson were both listed behind Emil Ekiyor at right guard. That's kind of impressive for those two young men. Of course, you got guys like Pierce Quick that have been on campus for a couple of years now.
Yeah,
he's not listed whatsoever. But those two young men are. So that kind of struck me a little bit surprising. So that's good to see those two young men, fighting hard there for a position on the offensive line.
Absolutely. And I mean, there's a lot of talent on that offensive line. It's loaded.
A lot of depth. Yeah.
Absolutely. So the only thing we talked about it before we come on, I was worried about Randolph, see if he was going to be able to keep his position at the right tackle spot with his injury, but it looked like he secured it. Got JC Latham there just in case if something happens. So we're going to be fine offensive line wise. We got everybody's worried about experience. Yeah, we got pretty much we got two guys who haven't played before, but the rest of them, like Owens, does have experience. So
Yeah.
I'm not worried about that. And of course, Evan Neal's a stud, and Ekior has experience, so we're going to be fine.
Yeah, I trust the offensive line. It may take them a couple series to kind of gel together, but I'm not near as worried about that as some people are.
Yeah, and we got a good offensive line coach. I know losing Kyle Flood hurt, but I mean, Doug Marone, I think he's the offensive line coach now, so we're going to be fine. Just let him coach the guys, and we'll be fine.
Yeah, I feel really good about it. Like we mentioned, the live chat's open, so make sure you get in there with any questions or comments, about the depth chart, about the Miami game. Just kind of scrolling through here, looking at the depth chart. Nothing really surprising. I'm excited to see Jamarian Latham play this fall, be a part of that rotation on the defensive line. He really stood out in the spring. He's a guy who come from a real small 2A high school, I believe, Pickens County, so maybe a 1A high school. I'm not even sure. They're either 1A or 2A. So the fact that he's already playing just his second year on campus shows what type of talent he is. So excited about that. Go ahead.
I was going to say, you want to talk about depth. Listen to what, everybody knows about our starters at linebacker. Listen to the names that's behind them. Drew Sanders, Jalen Moody, Shane Lee, who's had experience, Deontay Lawson, Chris Braswell. I mean, that linebacker room is unfreaking real.
It really is. It's crazy. Crazy good.
Yeah. So, I mean, if something, God forbid, injuries happen, and I know having playing time, does make a difference, but we've got guys to plug in that can play right away. I feel like if barring injury, I hope no injuries happen, but if something happens at the linebacker room, we're going to be fine.
Yeah. Any surprises that's along the special teams unit to you? Nothing really shocking there. We talked about how JoJo Earl, we talked about it a couple of weeks ago, how he was probably going to have an opportunity there with Slade Bolden. So, and at kick returner, it looks like Jamison Williams and Jace McClellan will kind of be those two guys. So, excited to see how that turns out. And of course, now we have the Australian punter, James Burnett, who is going to be taking over the punting duties. So, anxious to see how he does. The punting has not been that great since J.K. Scott moved on to the NFL. So hopefully that can be taken care of by the Australians. So excited to see how all that works out.
And I love our new long staffer's name, Neelan Hibbett.
Look, full disclosure, I know is about as much as anybody when it comes to the Alabama football roster. And for some reason, I had never even heard of this guy until the depth chart was released.
Well, did you catch Saban? Saban does not talk about long snappers.
Yeah,
but he actually talked about this guy today.
Right, he did. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, it's incredible. So apparently, he's already caught the eyes of the coach, and that's a good thing. So we'll see how it goes.
We're fixing to move on to the to something else that Jake wanted to kind of throw in real quick. But before we do that, how amazing is it, Jake, that in week 1 of this NFL season, there's going to be 3 former Alabama quarterbacks starting. Jalen Hurts at Philadelphia, Mac at New England, and Tua at Miami. And Mac and Tua are going to be facing off against each other. That's just remarkable to me. I can't help but think, at the beginning of this Saban dynasty at Alabama, it was all about defense. And then we started getting the up-tempo offense and and all the spread concepts. And Nick Saban said, "Is this really what you want?" Alabama didn't have a quarterback in the NFL that was that successful in the first part of this dynasty. And now Saban asked, "Is this what you really want?"
Right.
And now you look at these NFL rosters; they're loaded with the running backs, receivers, and now 3 different starting quarterbacks in the NFL.
That's amazing.
Saban tried to warn y'all.
Exactly.
I mean, he wasn't complaining about the hurry up and the no huddle and the spread offense, because he's going to find a way to beat you anyway. and he got better
Mm-hmm.
than anybody else at it. And now he's putting more dudes in the NFL than anybody else at those positions. So he
Yeah,
tried to warn everybody. I mean, he really did. He tried to warn you.
that's right. And I seen a picture today. I think it was a 2017 season. You think about that recruiting class. You had Tua. We already had Jalen. I think Jalen Hurts on the roster. Matt Jones. That was the quarterback room. And then wide receiver, Jared Judy, Devontae Smith, and Jalen Waddle.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's incredible to think how the crap did we ever lose a game with all that
Well, hey,
talent.
and Jake, a part of look that 2017 class.
Mm-hmm.
Let's count them up.
Mm-hmm.
Tua, first round draft picks.
Mm-hmm.
Tua, Mac, Najee, Jedrick Wills, Alex Leatherwood, Jerry Judy, Henry Ruggs, Devontae Smith. That's 8.
8 people. 8.
I don't think there was anybody else, but that's 8 first round draft picks just from that 2017 class. That's nuts.
That's crazy. And oh my gosh. But yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, Saban tried to warn y'all. Y'all really want me to go get the best quarterback now and the best wide receivers on top of already having the best offensive lineman and offense or running backs on campus. You really want me to go get the best, best all around offensive guys?
Yeah, and he's not done yet.
No, he tried to warn y'all. Ty Simpson, I think his name is looking really, really good. He had a good game the other night.
Yeah, he's playing well his senior year of high school. So, but
next man on campus.
Yep. Hey, well, let's just move right on. Jake's fisting to run something by me that I have not heard yet. All right. Hey, we'll go ahead and show this. Doug Vest real quick. He chimed in, said his prediction was 34-16 Alabama. That's a pretty good score.
That is a good score.
I can't complain about that. But I have Alabama covering the spread of 19.5, I believe, is the last time I looked. So a little bit different score, but hey, I'll take a 34-16 win every day of the week. So, but we'll talk more about that, Doug, here in just a few minutes. Real quick, like Doug just did, jump in the chat, leave us your questions, comments about this game coming up Saturday against the Miami Hurricanes. But all right, Jake, go ahead and dive into what you're wanting to run by me real quick.
All right, we're fixing to discuss the Clemson Georgia game. Before we discuss, I'm just going to say I think Georgia wins, but my bold prediction, and I've been thinking about this all day. I really think that this year it could happen, just because Clemson lost a lot of players and they're trying to bring in some new players. Like there's no Travis Etienne anymore, or Trevor Etienne. There's no Trevor Lawrence. Mac Brown and North Carolina beats Clemson this year.
In the ACC championship?
I think in the regular season.
Well, they don't play in the regular season.
Okay, then the ACC championship. Yep.
So you're picking North Carolina to win the ACC over Clemson. Mm-hmm. I don't think I'd be too shocked, but that's pretty bold statement. I mean, nobody's really challenged Clemson for the ACC in several years, so that would be quite the shock if Mac Brown would be able to do that. He's got all the ingredients, man. He's got a experienced quarterback who's going to be a high first-round draft pick, and Sam Howell. So, when you have that, you got a leg up on some of these teams. But man, I can't count out Dabo and DJ Uiagalelei.
I'm glad you said that.
I have to slow down when I say that name.
Yeah, I'm not even going to attempt it.
We'll just call him Ukulele.
Yeah, that works.
But no, he's a great quarterback, and they've got a lot of talent on that team. But their offensive line is kind of a mess right now, and even Dabo said they were going to be, plugging in a couple of different centers this first game against Georgia. So against that Georgia defense, that's not a good sign. So I'm with you. I think Georgia takes this game, and I'll be honest with you, I think Georgia covers the spread. I want to say last I looked, it was 4 points or 6 points. Mm-hmm. I think they're going to be close to a double-digit win over Clemson. I'm thinking something like, 34-24, something along 35-27, something like that. So that's kind of what I'm thinking for that game.
Yeah, it come out today that Clemson's also going to be without three of their starting defensive men. That's huge as well. And you really, like you mentioned, you really don't want to be swapping out centers.
Not
Again,
against Jordan Davis. I mean, have y'all seen that
no.
dude?
Oh my gosh, yeah,
He's like 6'6", 380 or something, just
yeah,
ridiculous.
that dude's about to eat.
Yeah,
So,
he's gonna clean up that Clemson backfield. So
but they're dealing with some COVID issues and some injury issues as well. Everybody talked about they was going with Clemson because of Georgia's injuries issues. Now the ball is in. It's a fair fight. It seems like now because of the COVID issues that Clemson has and some of the injuries. So,
I wonder if this game could kind of turn out to be, not as kind of anticlimactic, I guess is the way to put it. It's all the hype going into the game, and it doesn't really live up to those expectations. So I guess we'll just kind of have to wait and see on that. But yeah, I think Georgia wins, and they're pretty much in control of the game from start to finish.
Yeah, and to me, I said on my other show last night, Best the West. Quarterback play to me is what it's going to come down to. DJ has had some experience, but last year when JT Daniels come in for Georgia, it seemed like the offense finally clicked. So I think he's going to be the difference, just because I think he's going to rally his troops a little bit quicker to get more out of his guys than DJ will, and it'd be too late in the game to try to make a comeback.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun game to watch.
Oh yeah. It's what, 6 or 7 or something like that.
I think I think it comes on right after Alabama and Miami.
I think you're right
on the same channel. So definitely going to be on college football all day Saturday.
Yeah, no kidding. See the comment we got. Okay.
All right. Just full disclosure. That's Jake's mom. She says, "Roll Tide and go Dogs." Her man is a Dogs fan. So
yeah,
what can we say?
Yeah, I mean, he's tried to turn her into a full blown Dogs fan, but I'm not gonna let that happen.
Too much Bama in her.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we've nearly gone. We've gone over 20 minutes already. We're gonna dive into this Alabama Miami game.
Let's go
real quick. Before we do that, make sure you are subscribed and make sure you jump in that live chat with any questions or comments about drop your score predictions, in the live chat, and we'll read them on air and discuss it. So make sure you do that. Follow Doug Vesely. Like I said, he put up his prediction of 34-16 Alabama. So if you're watching right now, drop your score prediction in the live chat, and we will, put it up on the screen for everybody to see. All right. So, Jake, before we give any predictions on the score or anything like that, just your initial thoughts on the game, how you kind of see the game playing out, and what are your kind of, I guess, key factors and to the game this Saturday?
I think the first couple of series is going to be kind of like a filling out. Alabama is going to probably just try to fill out offensively, especially try to, get their feet under them. And, we may try to – I think we may try to take a couple of shots early downfield just to see exactly what Bryce Young has, because honestly, we haven't really seen him throw downfield much. So I like to see them do that just a couple of times, see what they got, maybe open it up later in the game. But defensively, I think Alabama's just going to swarm them. They're going to get there. We got another score prediction, but that's a good score too.
38-17. I like it. I like it a lot.
Yep.
Great minds think alike, John. Appreciate you jumping in the chat, John, giving us your prediction. Y'all follow John's lead.
Yeah, I think the defense is going to be stout, and I know King can run a little bit, but he's also had that knee surgery over the summer or over the winter, I guess, when he got injured a couple parts last year. But I just don't know if he's going to be able to run like he normally can to open up that offense a little bit. So I think defensively we're going to take over and look for me the X factor. I know Will Anderson's probably going to be havoc, but I'm anxious to see Brian Branch. I just feel like this dude's about to go off in the secondary as well, along with all the other guys we had back there.
Yeah, sorry, my headphones are hurting my ears. I had to take them off. But yeah,
You're good.
as far as just the overall outlook on the game, Miami's returning 19 of 22 starters.
I heard that.
So they're an experienced team. Of course, De'Aaron King's entering his 20th year of college football. That's actually his 6th, but it feels like his 20th.
Yeah.
And he's a really good football player, but he is coming off that ACL injury that Jake mentioned against Oklahoma State in the bowl game. I believe it was the Cheez-It Bowl they were in. But yeah, so it's kind of hard to see where he's at. I mean, they can say he's healthy, but in practice, the quarterbacks don't get hit.
No.
So I mean, it's all about how he's going to hold up against that, that pressure that Will Anderson and Chris Allen are going to provide off the edge for Alabama. And one aspect of Alabama's defense, I've went back and watched several games from last season, over the last couple of weeks, and Christian Harris is a really good blitzing linebacker from the inside. And from time to time last year, they would put him out on the edge as well and blitz him. I think Alabama's ability to provide pass rush against an opposing offense is going to be really critical, and it could prove critical in this game as well. Now Miami returns, I want to say every one of their offensive linemen, which is huge
for them. Yes,
I mean that's a huge deal. But Jake, the talent on Alabama's defensive front seven, I think is just going to be too much for Miami. As far as Alabama offensively, I'm not sure Miami can hold up against the run on Alabama, and all that's going to do is open up the play action passing game for Bryce Young, to hit Jamison Williams over the top, or John Mechie over the top, or somebody crossing the middle of the field. So I just feel like Alabama's got too much talent, too much strength and power on the offensive and defensive lines for Miami to be able to keep this game real close. So I'm with John on around the 38-17 score prediction. That's about what I'm thinking. I want to say in an article I wrote today, that's what I put, 38-17 as my score prediction. So yeah, I really feel like Alabama has too much talent on both sides of the ball for this to really be that close of a ball game.
Yeah, and somebody made a comment today. Well, Miami went 8-3 last year. It's the ACC. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they lost to the 3 good teams they played.
Exactly. Yeah,
I'm going to bring up while you're talking about that. I'm going to bring up their schedule from last year.
Yeah, I mean, the ACC pretty much the last 3, 4, or 5 years has been Clemson and Clemson only.
Right.
So I don't give me that crap. They won 8. I was like, Danville and Falfon go 8-3 in the ACC.
That might be a little bit of a stretch.
I know that's a couple of local high school teams where we're at, but that is kind of a stretch. But the fact is, it's the ACC. The ACC's been down for a while now. Georgia Tech looks like they're on the up and up. Florida State, they've still got a little bit of trouble, but maybe they can get back. But it's still pretty much going to be Clemson until otherwise, and maybe this year where North Carolina can beat them. But
yeah, I mean, it's just I'm with you, Jake. It's that they don't have enough talent to beat Alabama. Their conference. All right, look, the teams they lost to, they got clobbered by Clemson last year, 42-17. Okay, so that's one of the good teams they played. All right, and then you scroll down a little bit further, then they get demolished by North Carolina, 62-26. where North Carolina run for about 600 yards on them. Yep. And then they lost in the Cheez-It Bowl to Oklahoma State. Now, of course, De'Aaron King did get hurt, and they only lost by 3. But, it just I don't know. I mean, their wins came against, teams like Louisville, who was terrible,
right?
UAB,
yep,
Pittsburgh, Virginia, NC State. It was a decent team last year. They beat Virginia Tech, but they were not ranked. They beat Duke, not very good right now. So,
yeah,
I mean, their schedule was light. The teams they that they had played that were actually decent football teams, they got clobbered by them. So
Yeah, but I was going to give my prediction real quick.
yeah, go ahead.
I have adamantly for the last couple weeks on both of my shows that Alabama's going to win by 30, and I still believe that. So for me to have that 30-point little differential, I'm saying about 42-10. So,
Okay. Wow.
So that's
42
what
to 10.
I am so hyped about this defense, and we have said it, and I've said it. This is Pete Golden's year to put up a shut up, and I think he's going to, he's got the talent to do it, and this defense is going to be spectacular. So
Oh, that would be quite the spanking. 42 to 10. All right. Hey, like we mentioned, we're going to go a couple more minutes just to kind of make sure everybody can drop their score predictions in the chat. We've had a couple so far, so we appreciate that. Jake is saying 42 to 10 Bama. Is he crazy?
Maybe, but I believe in my team, and I hope they can do it.
Yeah, Jake, yeah. I'll be honest with you. I would be, it would be more surprising to me if it was closer than 38-17 than I would be surprised if Alabama won 42-10. You see what I'm saying? I mean, it would shock me more if it was a closer game than like 14-17 than if it was a game of like 32, like you're thinking. So
yeah,
I mean, it's not completely crazy to me. Alabama's done this before in opening games. I mean, they beat USC 56-3 or 56-6 or something crazy like that a few years back. So,
and we talked about that off before we started. Alabama has not lost an opener since 2001, but since Saban's been there, and people say what they want, we have played at least a good team, give or take, maybe Duke, but at least a good team that was ranked for the
really
most part.
Solid, Power
program.
5 team. Yeah,
since 2011, we played Kent State as an opener. That's the last time.
Right.
After that, we played Michigan. Their program has been crap since we beat them. Florida State's another example. Yeah. We
USC hasn't recovered.
USC hasn't recovered. So,
by the way, USC is a sleeper team for me this year in college football.
They're sneaky good.
Look, they got a good quarterback. When you got a good quarterback, you got a chance.
Yeah, I think, and I know we didn't cover, and I'll just say it real quick, but I really think, I mean that's true.
A good point, John. It is hard. That's true. I would be shocked if Alabama held Miami to 10 points. That would be kind of shocking.
No, I'll tell you what would be shocking if we held Ole Miss 10 points. No, I'm just kidding.
That would be.
But
Jake, if we hold Ole Miss, I'm going to say this: if we hold Ole Miss to 21 or less, you have to publicly apologize to Pete Golding.
I would do it. And
roll Tide, John. We really appreciate you jumping in the chat tonight. Hey, we got another one here. Cassidy, Jake's wife, says, I'm so excited about this weekend. I just want everyone to have a great season in football this year. Everyone except Auburn.
Yes. Yeah.
I think that's what she meant. She just kind of she left the part out.
That's right. But what I was going to say, since we're going to go on just a few more minutes, and we can talk about this. We can talk about this game just a little bit too. But, I really think LSU is fixing to put a whooping on UCLA. I watched every snap of that UCLA Hawaii game. Here's the deal. Hawaii is terrible.
Yeah.
I actually thought it might have been close to the game. I will go on record to say that, but I didn't realize how Hawaii was this terrible. But UCLA rushed for 250 something yards against Hawaii.
Yeah.
Number one, they're not doing that against LSU.
Right,
I'm sorry.
Right.
They're not going to do that. And their quarterback went 10 of 20 for 130 yards.
Yeah, they won't beat LSU if they don't get better quarterback play from what is it, Dorian Thompson-Robinson or something like that?
Yeah, I think LSU
who's also been in college for like 50 years.
I know it, but I think LSU's fixing to put a whooping on them because I really think Matt Johnson is going to be show out this year for
I think
LSU.
Max has a chance to be really good.
Hmm.
Dude, I'm so on the fence about this LSU team
I know it's so
because
hard to rush.
it's so hard to. Are they going to be more like the 2019 team? Are they going to be
Hmm.
more like the 2020 team?
Right.
Because the
Yeah.
truth is, they're probably going to be somewhere in the middle, and somewhere
Yeah.
in the middle would be 8-4,
Hmm.
maybe 9-3.
Hmm.
And how content are LSU fans going to be with that?
Right.
So I'm that's an intriguing team this year, LSU. So, uh, but I'm with you. We've talked about Max Johnson before on the show
Hmm.
about how we think he has a chance to be a really good player. So, and Keishawn Butte is one of the best receivers in the
Hmm.
country. They got to get that running game going. I think they'll be
Yeah.
better in the run game this year. They got some talent there, but they got to be more consistent running the football. So I'm excited to see that. I'm excited to
Yeah.
see a lot of these teams. Tennessee plays tomorrow night against Bowling Green, so get to watch that. So
That's a 31-point spread, I think, the last I saw. I do not believe Tennessee can beat anybody
yeah,
by 31. I don't and Bowling Green may be absolutely terrible. I just
yeah,
don't
I
see
don't
it.
know. They have
Tennessee's
like
a
the worst
dumpster fire.
uniform. They have like the worst uniforms
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah, they
Bowling
do.
Green has the worst uniforms ever.
Yeah, they do. But Tennessee is an absolute dumpster fire right now. But I just
Yeah.
don't see them. I don't care if they're playing a high school team. They could play IMG Academy and couldn't beat them by 30.
I hate to harp on this, but who the heck thought that it'd be a good idea to put orange and brown as your school colors?
I know. Yeah, they need to go back to drawing board
Oh, that's
on that.
terrible.
It was. It was.
All
But
right, last call. If you want to drop your score prediction in the live chat, you better do it right now because we're fixing to wrap this show up. Been a lot of fun talking about this week one matchup with Miami. Go ahead, Jake.
real quick, I was going to ask you, since I think it got announced after our show last week, but how do you feel about Haynes King at A&M?
I mean, he gives them the option, of mobility. He's really good with his feet. But Jake, man, I went back and watched their spring game. I watched it 2 weeks ago, and I didn't see enough throwing the football for them to be a legitimate threat to Alabama. I just didn't. And a lot can change between now and the
Absolutely.
time that Alabama plays, mid-October. But
Hmm.
or is it October? I can't remember. Whenever we play, a lot can
Yeah.
change. A lot can change between now and when Alabama faces Texas A&M. So, but at this moment, I don't see enough of this of Haynes King and his ability to throw the football for them to be a threat to Alabama.
Yeah.
John wants to know
John.
how about the Clemson and Georgia game. Yeah, we talked about that earlier in the episode, but we'll talk about it again real quick.
Yeah.
We both feel like Georgia's going to win. Just a few too many question marks for this Clemson team. Georgia has a great defensive line. Clemson's offensive line is being patchwork. Their center position is unsettled at the moment. So I think Georgia's defensive line can own the line of scrimmage and get enough stops against DJ and that Clemson offense for JT Daniels to give that Georgia offense a chance to make plays. So I just feel like Georgia wins this game around 34-24, 34-27, something along those lines.
That's a good prediction right there. I think the cover, because I believe the spread is, I think you said like 4-6, might be 3 now. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah,
but
I can't remember for sure either.
yeah, but
If anybody knows the spread of the Georgia game in Clemson, drop that in the chat real quick because
yeah.
I would like to see that again. For some reason, I got 6 stuck in my head or 6.5
So I think
stuck in my head.
they cover that.
Yeah, I think Georgia covers that.
The over under on the Alabama game is 62. I think last I saw. I think I'd take the under in that.
Yeah, I would take the under in that for sure.
So,
and by the way, do not take mine and Jake's word on these these over and unders or these lines. We are not gamblers. We barely even know what over and under means. So don't
right.
don't take our word for it.
Right. But one thing real quick before we go. It looks like the injury bug for Alabama looks like it's kind of gotten a little better. Don't look like the Helms is going to play. I mean, I don't know if he's going to play. I think his status is like questionable.
Yeah, he's still questionable.
So
but Jake, this is a great opportunity for Brian Branch, and
that's what I think.
This might be one of those situations where Branch doesn't let go of that safety position, and DeMarco may have to go back to playing that money position, which is what he played last year for most of the season. So it's not going to be new to him. But Brian Branch, he's just one of those guys that's a playmaker, and so I'm anxious to see how he plays Saturday in there for DeMarco. But
he's my X factor.
Yeah. Oh, okay. John, Clemson is favored by 3.
Okay.
What?
No,
that's crazy. Yeah, give me Georgia all day long.
Georgia outright win.
What do you think, John? You've been live in the chat a lot. So what do you think, man? That's surprising. I don't know where did I get that Georgia was favored by 6.
Oh no, I just think it's
maybe I've just had in my head that I thought Georgia would win by 6 or more, and that's just kind of where I got that from.
Might be, but with them coming out today saying that 3 defensive guys are going to be out for Clemson, that
it may be down to 1 guys. Do you know?
No, I didn't see.
Okay. Yeah, as soon as John, I'd like to see what John thinks about that game. Clemson's favored by 3. Got the hiccups all of a sudden. But hey, by the way, I want to throw something in here real quick, guys. We appreciate everybody that listens to us and watches us. This last month has been record numbers, not only on the YouTube, which we just really started doing it on YouTube, but also in the podcast form. We've nearly doubled numbers on the podcast form, and then you add what we're doing with YouTube. It's been doing great, and it's all because of you guys. We appreciate that. We just do this for fun. It's just two country boys from Alabama that love Alabama football and want to talk about it, and we just appreciate that you value our opinions enough to give us a listen, and so we certainly appreciate that. And,
absolutely.
All right, John says he's going to take Clemson because he thinks they have the better QB. That's a good point. I think DJ is probably a better quarterback than JT. At least long term, I think DJ is a better quarterback than JT. And he says his score prediction is 27-24. So he's with the Vegas odd makers at a 3-point advantage for Clemson. So John is probably the smart one here, and we're probably not. So. But we never claimed to be smart.
Right. My last word on this game: if there's a way both teams could lose, I would love to see it happen.
Well,
just my opinion.
Hey, and I hope it doesn't happen for anybody because we're still talking about college athletes, and they work really hard for it to be taken away. But with this COVID rule in the SEC, you could literally have a game where both teams lose.
That's right.
Both teams would have to forfeit. That was good point. Justin Ross is back for Clemson.
And he like a 20-year senior, like everybody,
Shoot, yeah, he's Hunter Renfro 2.0 for them.
He caught like a touchdown pass against us in the 2018 championship.
Yeah,
like that?
Yeah, he was a true freshman that year.
I thought he was like a sophomore then.
He whooped up on Savion Smith in that game till Savion Smith got hurt, and then our freshman Josh Jobe, who hadn't played much, had to go in, and he covered him pretty good, but Ross is 6'4" with a 6'8" wingspan and made a bunch of tough contested catches, and ain't nothing you can do about
it. He's gonna be a top pick this year for sure.
Oh yeah, Ross is a baller, man.
Yep.
I hate that he got out of the state of Alabama, but that goes back to Dabo being he's from here, so he has that connection to some of these guys. But John makes a good point on the I think as far as pure talent, DJ is a better quarterback than JT. But I think that right now, up front, Georgia's better on both sides. And I think aside from Justin Ross, I'm not sure Clemson has a playmaker, at least a proven one. I'm sure they got him, but a proven playmaker, and Georgia's got, their receivers' names. Burton, he's still there. He's a good playmaker. Jackson is still there. He's a good playmaker. So
But
I just and all
Pickens
their
is
running
out.
backs. Do
Yeah.
what now?
Pickens is out, of course.
Yeah, Pickens is out. But they got the backfield Cook and Zamir White. So I just feel like the talent around JT Daniels is better at the moment than what it is around DJ. So that's why I feel like Georgia may win. But you're probably the smarter person here, taking Clemson and trusting the guys out in Vegas, John.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
All right. Well, we've went for 45 minutes. We appreciate everybody tuning in tonight.
Thank you,
for
guys.
the live show. If you haven't subscribed already, hit that subscribe button on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, follow us on Spotify, Amazon Music, just wherever you listen to the podcast at. Just make sure you're subscribed or follow us there. You can follow us on Twitter at Tide Talk Pod, at Facebook at Tide Talk Pod. My Twitter account is at Blackwood89.
And I'm at J Thomas TTS.
All right, guys, we're going to head out now. We really appreciate everybody listening. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.